introduce to some and present to others this wonderful guest today.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know, on this show, we are a Christian based station, but more than that, we believe in celebrating those who are making a big, big pull on people and trailblazers and doing wonderful things. And people like her, I call them people that God used to heal because it's not just a work, it's a healing. And this young lady is doing some major things, especially being a woman in her profession. And we wanted to celebrate her. We wanted you, our listeners, in all the 71 countries to know who she is. So after today, you will know. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Doris Martel. Welcome to the Wake Up Morning Show.
Good morning, guys. It's an honor to be here.
We're
Good
glad
morning.
to have
Good
you.
morning to you. Good morning to you. First of all, I enjoy to see the smile on your face this morning.
Yes.
What part of the world are you in?
So, right now, I'm in Philadelphia,
Hmm.
in Pennsylvania, in the United States.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask the question that everybody said when they heard you speak. Where you from? Where your people from? Because you got a little
She has an
accent,
accent,
and
yes.
we trying to figure it all out. I'm gonna say you're some part of
Great
Africa.
Britain.
Yeah, I was born and raised in France, and my parents are from the Caribbean, from a little French island called Martinique.
All right,
Wow.
all right. So you got all the experiences. You were born in France. What brought you to America?
Well, at first, I wanted to develop my skills. So after I finished college and studying communication and physical therapy, I wanted to come to the US first because I wanted to learn this language. And then second, because I wanted to develop my skills. So what better to develop your skills and grow as a human, to just move from a different country and put yourself in difficulty. So that was kind of like my quest, and I got that.
Okay.
I think it says a lot about your determination and your persistence because it's hard for a young lady to come all the way to California and to go to Cal State Long Beach coming from France. And I'm sure your family was still there. How was the transition coming to America, leaving all of them to pursue your dreams?
Yeah, I was younger, so a bit naive at the time. So to me, I just want to change. I wanted to learn the language, learn new things, meet new people. So I didn't really leave thinking it was going to be difficult. I know it was going to be different, but in my head, I had no notion. I didn't put any blocks in me that it was going to be difficult. But so I have three brothers and sisters. And so I'm the first of my family to leave the country, and especially leave for a country where it's a different culture and a different language. So it was really not something that I'm used to. So that was the difficult part. It was to tell my parents, I'm gonna leave for, at first it was just 9 months. And then it ended up being, I left in 2006. So like I never went back to leave, just now to visit. So my parents were a bit scared
Right.
and didn't understand, why is she leaving? Isn't something wrong? And
Mm.
it was just, I think it was just a fire in me to just explore what life has to give, to offer. So that was, yeah, that was the difficult part. I think it was more like having my family not understanding and not having any point of comparison. Like I didn't know what it was
Hmm.
to be on your own in a country that has a completely different culture. So luckily, going from France to California, the transition is probably a little bit easier than if I would have done New York,
Right.
just because people are more open-minded. Uh, It was very weird for me to come to California the first time, and I'm walking in the street, and people are looking at me and saying, like, smiling or saying hi. Versus, in France and especially in Paris, like, you look down all the time. Like, if somebody looks at you, like, it means like we have a problem.
Wow.
So that was an adjustment. But when I came to California, it just felt like so friendly and so open. And to me, it was kind of a chance to do something great and to grow as a human being.
Wow.
So let me ask you a question. In the black family, I remember when I went away to college, there was a couple of sayings that they said. One was, "Remember that you're a Thompson," and the other one was, "If she can't use your comb, don't bring her home." Those were the two things I remember going away to college. When you came to the United States, what were some of the things your parents told you before you left that you were supposed to remember?
Honestly, they didn't tell me much because they had no idea either, what I was where I was going, what the culture was. Like, all we know from the US is what we see on TV.
Yep.
And it's very different from what reality is. Like, the culture that we're being fed over there has nothing to do with what's going on, really. And like, the only thing that my dad told me is that respect yourself so that other can respect you. So that's something that always stayed with me. And then they told me, no matter what happened, just come home. If something isn't right, just come home.
So,
Our doors are open.
so I want to ask this: since you said what you knew about America was from TV, what was your favorite black TV show?
Uh, uh, the only the two TV shows that we were seeing at the time was The Cosby Show
I knew it.
and the French Prince of Bel-Air.
Okay,
That's
I
all
knew it.
that we were seeing.
I knew it.
So the to me, the black culture was like cool and fresh. Like, it was, it's very different from what we experience in France and in Paris. It's very multicultural, but there is no segregation. So the first time that I came to LA, and I remember I went to I think it was a Walmart in Crenshaw, and everywhere I see is black people.
Yep. On
I have
Crenshaw.
never seen that in my life, an area where everywhere you turn is black people. And that was a culture shock to see, like, that's my first encounter with segregation, kind of.
Right.
That's how I see it as a French person, because in France there is a lot of culture, but we all live together. I'm from the project of Paris, so we have people from different area of Africa, whether it's North Africa or Sub-Saharan Africa.
wait,
We
wait,
have,
wait a minute. Hold up,
you know,
hold up. Did you say you was from the projects in Paris?
They have projects in Paris?
Paris, we don't
yes,
think
we
they have
do.
projects. They got
No.
projects in Paris.
Yeah, you see the difference of what we feed you, or what you've been fed from the French culture is also different, right? Like, a lot of people, when I first came, was there is black people in France. Like, they have no idea, but because of our long history of colonization,
Right.
there is a lot of people from Senegal, Ivory Coast, North Africa, Algeria, that either were the product of this colonization and their parents came to work in France because nobody wanted to do the work, kind of the same as America with,
Right.
with the immigrants. And but to welcome those people, they had to build around the big cities. And so around Paris, you have a lot of our version of the project, where you have very high buildings, and we all live together as a big community.
So I gotta ask this one question
Mm-hmm.
because there was a TV show called Good Times, and they was in the projects
The real projects.
in Chicago, Capri Green. my question is, and they talked about greens and ham hock and chitlins and all the other thing. What were some of the African American or Paris delicacies that were only found in the hood or in the projects?
Um, So it has changed a lot because now you can find delicacies from the project, and they're making restaurants now. So that's really amazing what's going on right now in France with, my generation and the generation after. But before, yeah, it was difficult outside of the project to find, let's say, from West Indies. Like in France we have all of our like the baguette, but in West Indies they make a similar bread, but it's a butter bread that only you can find in West Indies. So you can only find it in the project, for example. All the delicacies from the North Africa, the baklava, the makrud, all those different flavors, those spices were mostly found in the project, or funny enough, in Asian supermarkets. So that's where sometimes we would go and buy our spices, because some of our spice, through trades and stuff, through history, are also spices from China and from Asia. So they would have some of the ingredients that we need to make our food.
We do the same thing.
Yeah,
We go to some of the
Asian markets.
Asian markets for spices and meats
Yeah.
and things of that nature. So there are some similarities.
And Robert, don't you
Similarities,
just have
yeah.
a taste for some butter bread right now? Because she said butter bread, I said, "Oh, I want some."
Yes, but I want the wheat.
It's so
You
good.
said you want what?
Want the wheat.
Oh, I thought you said
I
wheat.
don't like white bread.
Okay, I thought you said
I
wheat.
like
And I was
wheat.
kind of concerned.
No weed.
Okay, praise the Lord.
Doris, people are probably saying, what does she do? Let me say this. She's been working in the NBA, National Basketball Association, for over 12 years. She is between a physical therapist, performance and sports science by integrating functional medicine and manual therapy into players' personalized program. Talk about what you do in the NBA. That's major.
And before you say that, I might say, "Woo, girl, you deep." I will just reach out,
Right.
just touch you
Because
because
I go to get massages, but she's with the big folk, the big time
you
people.
know what I'm saying? I'm like saying, "Can I have your
Yes.
autograph?"
Right.
Oh no. No, but so I've been working in the NBA for 13 years, full time. I'm taking a little bit of time off right now to take care of my son, and then I'll be back again full time soon. But so what I've been able to do, and what I've been trusted to do, is to uh, use the manual part of physical therapy. So when you go to a physical therapist, they're gonna mostly give you exercises. But in France, we are trained also for our hands to complement that work. So I use a lot of my hand within the scope of physical therapy to treat players. And I was trusted by the 76ers. At the time, they were having a lot of injuries, and they were trying to find a way to deal with that. And so they trusted me to create a manual therapy and functional medicine program to make sure that we had not only all the resources for the players, so for rehabilitation, but also to prevent injury. And so over those 4 years, we had, for example, the last year that Doc Rivers was there, a 91% player availability, which is really hard to do.
Wow.
This is the year where Joel Embiid had his MVP and played the most game of his career. So the idea of this program is to study the player as at a cellular level. And when you know exactly, when you can study its hormones, genetics, nutrition gaps, so when you know exactly the player, what he needs, and then you can add to that manual therapy, physical therapy, and all other type of therapy like acupuncture, fascial stretching. So you open your mind to way like a wider spectrum of treatment that you can give to the players, knowing exactly what you want. That's where the magic really started.
So,
Wow.
the first thing when Robert told me you would work for the NBA, the first thing I was like saying is, how do you manage? How do you manage all the players seeing you and trying to flirt with you?
So I'm way older than them. I look young, but I'm way older than them. I'm married, I have a kid. So to start with, my behavior doesn't, it doesn't attract that type of behavior. So maybe when I was younger, I would have a, hey, what's your dating situation and stuff like that. But like I right away tell them, well, this is my dating situation. I'm married, and that's I'm not interested in that. And also the way I treat them, uh, they're not gonna think, oh, she's
Yeah,
interested in me.
Right.
I give them pain,
yeah.
so their mind already is
Is
in
to get well.
in a other way. You know what I mean? Some of them hide from me. They have to be in the right mindset sometime to be able to handle a treatment from me. So that's not really what they're thinking of. But I treat them more like my kids.
Right.
A lot of them now they call me Miss Doris. At first I didn't like Miss Doris because it made me feel old. But then to me, I started to take it as a sign of respect.
Mhm.
And one player calling you Miss Doris, the other player is gonna be like, oh, she's Miss Doris, and that she's treating me like my auntie or my I'm 20 years than older than most of them,
Right.
so I could be their mom.
The big
And they
sister.
they feel that, yeah, they feel that in the way I treat them. And so I've never ever had a problem or an issue
And
with the
Well,
player.
what
and
I like is what I like. She said they said, "What is your dating situation?" That's a new one. Y'all better use that one. What's your dating situation? My situation is that I'm married with
Mary.
kids
Right.
and old enough to be your big sister.
Right.
Here's the thing that, and I'm gonna pitch this back
Okay.
to Robert. But here's the thing. You know, it sounds like you are in high demand. Well,
Oh
both
yes.
me and Robert are Laker fans. How do we get you to come back to California and
She's in
work with it?
California.
But she said that she was with 76ers. I want to know if we get her to the Lakers. Is she at the Lakers yet?
Well, I don't know, but we can't do that because Lakers have their own
But
organization and have their own people.
I'm trying to see what it's
Right.
gonna take.
But guess what?
What?
She's with
But
the
you can
Clippers.
call them, you can tell them, hey, because they know me.
But she was with
And
the Clippers for years
I was
as
with the
well.
Clippers. So
Did you work with
Coach
Kawhi
Redick.
Leonard?
No, I didn't. So Kawhi came the year that I left for the Sixers, but Coach JJ Redick was one of my players, so he was under my care, and I know him really well.
Well, I'm gonna call brother Shaw over there at the Clippers and say we need you to come back. And then I'm gonna call somebody else
You have
and
to go to
say,
Jeannie Buss. Jeannie Buss is the
no,
owner.
no, no. See, I said Clippers. See, you weren't paying attention. Pay attention.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and I
No.
have a lot of love for the Clippers. That JP, who's their head athletic trainer, Jason Powell, he's amazing. He's one of the first who gave me my chance full time in a team,
Wow.
taking a chance on a black woman and
Yes.
foreigner. So I'm forever grateful for the chance he gave me. He's an amazing man, and so I have nothing but love for the Clippers. And it was really sad when I left, but it was just, time for me try something new. You know, once you left your country, your family, you can go anywhere.
How did you feel getting your first NBA opportunity? Because the NBA in the world is huge. The TV, the glamour, the money that they make. How did you feel as a young person to get your first opportunity?
So, you know, I think culturally, I was raised by my parents and also by a culture that is not in the glams and glitter. So, I see it now differently 20 years later. But when I first started, for me, it was just like, oh, I'm just, you know, I get to work with pro athletes. Like I never look at them like, oh my God, that's Blake Griffin
Right.
or CP Paul, Chris Paul. To me, I was just this girl who was being trusted with her skills, and this was a big opportunity, but I never made it big deal in my head and in my heart.
Hmm.
And I think that's also probably why it kept me humbled.
Right.
It humbled me, and it kept me safe also, because to me they're just like me. They're just human, just like me. And you see them go through their ups and their downs, so the environment is a little bit bigger and people are super interested in what you're doing and stuff.
Hmm.
But in reality, when you're in it, you realize that it's a small micro culture, micro organism,
Hmm.
and a small little family. And that kept me grounded. And I never thought, oh my God. Like,
Right.
now I look at it more, and I look at the everything that I've done so far, and I'm like, you actually did that, you know? And I
You
think the
did it.
older I get,
You did it.
the more I'm gonna think like, you did not realize that at the time. But when I was in it, it was work, and I was just trying to just do my best and help as much as I could. And I think it's maybe when I retire and maybe one day I write my book that I'm gonna realize, wow, you did that, girl. That was crazy.
How many people of color are working in the NBA from your knowledge? How many of them are doing what you're doing?
So what I'm doing, people of color, not a lot. But it's getting better.
Good.
The league is opening up, and other league, NFL, NHL, maybe not that much, but at least NFL and NBA, you have more people of color. You're starting to have more women, and so as far as black male, there is black male.
Of
That's
course.
not a problem, because you know most of the players are African American or black.
Correct.
So they've been trusted. Now I think the new way is to give a chance to the woman, and then also give a chance to the black woman. So slowly but surely
Hmm.
it's opening up, and I think it's also for all the women that are already in there, it is for us to to do our best with our skills, our leadership, our behavior, to
Hmm.
also show that you trusted us,
Right.
and you were right to trust us.
Right. My other question to you is, how do you deal with the athlete psychologically who have like this injury? Because they can go through depression, they can go through a lot of things. How do you keep them at a certain level with your
Level, yeah.
expertise joining with them?
Yeah. So I have a very holistic way of looking at the body and therapy in general. So I pay a lot of attention to the psyche and to somatic pain, because so somatic pain is a pain or an injury that is caused by the way you feel, by stress, by trauma, by negative thoughts. And over the years and over my training, I realized that there is specific part of the body where you have pain due to how you feel. So, for example, when you're the head of your family, you're the breadwinner, and you're stressed about the fact that you have to hold your family. A lot of people are gonna experience pain on their shoulders.
Yes.
That's an example. And then so you have some injuries where if I'm able to recognize that zone is linked to that type of emotion, as I'm doing a treatment, I'm talking to the player. So we're doing a mix of manual therapy, physical therapy, and talk therapy at the same time. And as they talk, a lot of time the pain dissipates. So that's something to keep in mind, is like how powerful the mind is.
Right.
At some time we see it as keeping us stuck in our pain, but really it is telling us this is what's going on and deal with it.
Right.
And a lot of players who get injured, if you really dig deep, a lot of time there's something going on in their life
Yes.
where either it's at home or just in their head thinking, I'm not good enough. I don't know if I can keep going. I'm not this or that. And then that psyche just takes over the body, and then you get hurt. A lot of time that happens.
Wow. So she's saying that the mind controls the body.
Amen. Well, one of the things I would like to say is thank you for sharing this insight with us. Now, I like to always get into people's business, and so I'm gonna get into your
Do you
business.
like being
really.
nosy?
See, now I'm gonna ask you to.
Or inquisitive?
I like to get people to let me follow. Don't interrupt me. But
Go
I'm trying
ahead.
my best. Okay, praise the Lord.
Uh-huh.
All right. How do you balance off family life with the NBA and all the push and pressures that the NBA has? How do you balance it off? And how do your children see you when you come home after
With the
working a
big
big
stars.
NBA game?
Yeah, so first off, I have a husband that's really supportive. He's always been supportive from the start, so I'm very lucky with that. And so my son, I only have one. He's 7 years old, and all he knows is that lifestyle. So I was pregnant with him when I was already working with the Clippers, so that I worked my whole pregnancy, the whole season. I think I missed my two last week because I was getting too big, and my boss told me like, you gotta rest, you're about to give birth like in a month and a half. So that's all he knows. He was born, and 2 months later, so luckily we had the summer, and then 2 months later it was back to training camp. So he's always seen me, he's always here, basketball in the background, always seen me working with players. So he's very desensitized to it. He does not care if this is the basketball player or somebody, in the street. For him, it's the same, which I like, because he doesn't have stars in his eyes. Um, and and then the way I balance it is, and it's hard, and I'm not gonna lie. It takes time to understand your family dynamic, but it's a lot of organization. If I know that I'm gonna be gone for a weekend or a week, I try to, for example, like help my husband as much as possible. So all the clothes are gonna be washed and ready. Food, I'm gonna prepare food for several days and put it in the freezer. Like I try to like make his life easier if I'm not at home. And then when I'm at home, we try not to talk about basketball. I try to be as present as possible. And that's an adjustment, because it's you going from a family to another, really, a family that has their ups and downs, their problems, and then you go to your own that have their ups and downs. And And to dissociate the two is difficult. So it's, it comes with, I think it comes with experience. It's very easy to lose yourself in it, not to bring the stress at home. And I've learned it at my own expense. So, it's, to me, it was a lot of talk therapy with myself, meditation, and trying to find the right balance where my son doesn't feel like his mom doesn't care, my husband doesn't feel like his wife's not home and doesn't see him, and
Right.
so it's a balance, and it's difficult, but it's possible.
My last question, 'cause I told you I wanted to get into your business.
Hmm.
At home, what is the main language you speak?
English,
English?
unfortunately. So I speak French with my son, but English is the main language because my husband doesn't speak French at all,
Okay.
Right.
or very little.
Now, how does the French Federation see you? Have you worked with their basketball program? Because their basketball program is pretty good. I mean, I know the
Yes,
USA wins all the gold medals with the Dream Team, but the France team is not far behind, and their
yes.
organization of basketball professional is big because a lot of Americans that don't make the NBA go to France
Hmm.
and play
Hmm.
professionally. So, what do they think of you, and have you worked with them before?
So I've worked with the French team since 2019. So they came to get me. Boris Diaw was the general manager, and they came to get me and asked me if I would help them. So I've been working with them almost every summer. I didn't work with them during the pandemic for the Olympic Games in Tokyo. But I was with them those last Olympic, for example, and that was like a very special experience. I was there during the last game against the US.
Yes.
So that it's a special team that has it's definitely a special team that is growing more and more, and that is going to be France is becoming a power country in basketball.
In
And
track and field too.
yes, and so I think the next Olympic that are going to be in Los Angeles, the French basketball team is going to be dominating, because we have a very good program over there.
Mhm.
And you've seen the past 2 3 years a lot of French players coming
NBA.
into the NBA,
Hmm.
and they're coming skilled, they're coming healthy,
Yep.
they're coming motivated, and with a different mindset, because it's different culture and we're raised differently.
Hmm.
So this is definitely a nation to look for and to look at.
Do you get the medals that they receive when you work with them?
Yes, so we get the medal, except we did not get the Olympic medal. So they're working on it. The federation told us that they're gonna try to get us one. But I have all of the other medals that I've had with them,
My
except
my my
yeah.
Wow.
very last question, and I promise you this because we gotta conclude this. If we were to come to your house for a visit, and you were to cook an authentic meal from your experience, what would be on the table?
I think because I'm a busy woman, I try to like cook, like have like helpers. So I would probably cook you a slow cook meal, a bœuf bourguignon. So it's a French beef stew that is slowly cooked with potatoes, carrots, and wine. So I would probably cook that with you'll have at the beginning always cheese and fruits, a good bottle of wine, bœuf bourguignon, and as a dessert, an apple pie with the apple baked in butter and salted butter.
It sounds,
Oh,
sounds delicious.
I'm hungry
It
now.
sounds delicious.
No, this has been really a pleasure and a treat
Yes.
for our listeners and around the nation. We're heard in over 70 countries, France being one of them, and we also French is spoken in a lot of the African nations, and so
Yep.
this has been a very, very blessed interview for us. And I want to thank you for giving us your time and your talents. People are like saying, "Wow, what a very powerful interview." If people were to connect with you or wanted to follow you, how could they do that?
So you can look up just Google my name. I'm not super on social media, so mostly it's Instagram. You can find me so on Doris Martel. You can also, if you're interested, I started a podcast called Deep Tissue Talks. So I massage my guests as they talk about their life, and so that's called Deep Tissue Talks. So you can find it on YouTube. And for the rest, yeah, Instagram. I'm not on Twitter. I'm a little bit on TikTok, but not really. Just for show and put some clips in it. So the easiest way is to find me on Instagram or YouTube.
Thank you so much. What I'm going to say, viewers and listeners, for her to respond so quickly to me, because we try to find people that are doing great things outside of just gospel music and that kind of thing. And you caught my attention when I started looking people up in you. And I was like, we got to get her on this show. Look at what she's doing as an African American woman from France doing major things in the NBA. So we applaud you, we celebrate you, and we are just so honored to have you on GODRadio1.com.
And with that being said, I'm gonna lead us out with this song by, I call it Corn, but it's Corinne Hawthorne, and it says "Look at God" right here on God Radio 1.
.com.